Now this is showing the pathway of the respiratory system. It starts from the nostrils, nasal passage, pharynx, trachea, then it divided into two bronchi, then many bronchioles, then alveoli, blood capillaries, and then from the blood capillaries, the blood it transports to the cells. Now what does it transport? It transport the oxygen. Okay, first of all, the oxygen it transported. Now once again see the functions. Nostrils, these are the two holes in our nose. Then nasal passage, it is lined with fine hair and mucus, and they trap the dust particles that are present in the air. Then the clean air, it will enter in the pharynx region. Pharynx region, it is a common passage for both food pipe as well as the windpipe. Then from the pharynx, it will go to the trachea. Trachea, it contains the cartilaginous rings which prevents the collapsing of the trachea even when no air that is present. Then trachea is divided into two bronchi. Then bronchi that are further divided into many bronchioles. Then bronchioles, at the end of the bronchioles, the alveoli that are present, and they are also known as the air sacs. They are surrounded by the blood capillaries, and alveoli, they are responsible for the exchange of gases because they provide a large surface area having thin walled, their wall that is very thin, and millions of alveoli that are present. And exchange of gases means that diffusion, by the process of diffusion, the exchange of gases it occurs. And then blood capillaries present, then blood capillaries that contain blood, and from where this blood it transport to the cells where respiration occurs, and then it produces CO2. So these arrows, they are showing that how the oxygen it will enter through this pathway, and when this oxygen it will reach into the cells. How it reaches? Because the blood that contain RBCs, and RBCs that contain the hemoglobin pigment. So that hemoglobin pigment, it is responsible for carrying this oxygen to the cells, and here in the cells respiration occur. As all of you know that during respiration, CO2 that is produced by the oxidation of the food, and this CO2 then again it will be transported to the blood capillaries through the blood, and from the blood capillaries to the alveoli, and then bronchioles, then bronchi. So these arrows, now this side, these arrows, they are showing the direction of the CO2, that how the CO2 it will transported from one region to the another region, and it will be diffused out. Okay, here you can see that I have written CO2 that is diffused outside. So from the same pathway the oxygen it will enter, and from the same pathway the CO2 it will go outside. And the blood which contain the hemoglobin pigment, it is responsible for carrying the oxygen as well as the CO2.